GM, a friend once told me to buy a graphics card to run a program that created monetary value. I wasn't new to distributed computing. Think SETI at home. But this was different. 2011, Bitcoin mining. I tinkered, sold BTC on shady IRC chats via PayPal for 10 to 20 bucks a coin, and cashed out my last coins in 2013 when BTC was at around 100 bucks. This was at my fiance's suggestion. It's a tidy profit. Oops. Sorry. She said, we bought coal for the winter. First, I warmed my room with GPU heat. Second, with the coal. Third, I warmed up to the idea of a decentralized future. No turning back. In 2017, I mined again, this time Ethereum. Programmable money blew my mind. I sold for profit, but the real win was the rabbit hole. Fast forward to 2019. Work handed me a crypto wallet project. Turns out I was the only one who could decode the cryptic crypto thingy. I dove into cryptography, consensus mechanism, and blockchain fundamentals. Hooked again. I joined ETH Belgrade as a speaker in 2023 and became a volunteer, helping whenever the chaos needed me. Today, I'm here to connect a few dots and dig into why I'm still here, knee-deep in this weird, wild blockchain world. Long before I read the manifesto, I was already living the cypherpunk ethos. I encrypted emails, I encrypted my phone before it was the default, experimented with custom ROMs, guarded my keys with YubiKeys. No clue a movement existed. Privacy wasn't a buzzword, it was muscle memory. But what even is privacy? It's the right to selectively share, to control what parts of your identity you reveal, and to whom. Autonomy, boundaries, the digital equivalent of closing a door. Then I discovered them. Tim May, who skipped coding to write the Cryptoanarchist manifesto, arguing math could replace institutions. Eric Hughes, who defined digital privacy in a Cypherpunks manifesto and launched the mailing list that organized a revolution. Phil Zimmerman, who put strong crypto in everyone's hands via PGP, because privacy is right. Their work isn't history, it's tooling. ProtonMail's PGP guts, Graphene OS on my phone, YubiKey guarding my keys. Cypherpunks don't die, they compile. Anarchy isn't lawlessness. It's a system where we write the rules. Technology doesn't just enable this, it demands it. Decentralization is the technoanarchist lifeblood, spreading responsibility across nodes, resisting co-option by governments, and replacing hierarchies with voluntary coordination. Programmable blockchains, they're not just infrastructure, they're immutable constitutions, governance rules etched in code, enforced by math, not intermediaries. Trust isn't granted, it's provable. But this isn't about abstract protocols. It's a hands-on rebellion, paying with cash to opt out of surveillance, end-to-end encryption to reclaim privacy, sliding my phone camera because my hardware, my rules. When I worked on a client's hardware wallet, I realized securing keys isn't just engineering. It's a political manifesto. Every line of code, every soldered chip says, this is mine. This is mine. The future isn't built by institutions. It's forged by people who code, solder, and vote with their own hands. Bitcoin taught me ownership isn't a privilege. It's a right. With just a seed phrase, I held absolute control over my value. It kept my identity private, hid my assets in plain sight, and let me transact without begging for permission. No bank could censor it. No institution could gatekeep it. But that was all it wanted to be, a base layer for money, static, predictable. I left because Bitcoin's simplicity felt limiting. I craved novelty, experimentation, and the thrill of building beyond money. Ethereum was the spark. Suddenly, code could enforce trust. Smart contracts could replace intermediaries. Yes, most still use it for money 2.0. But for someone who speaks its language, the potential is limitless. DeFi, DAOs, NFTs, privacy tools. The list grows daily. Selling my BTC still stings when I see its price today. But the real ROI wasn't the coins. It was the decentralized values I had absorbed along the way. Self-sovereignty, resistance to control, and the belief that systems should serve people, not the other way around. Bitcoin gave me freedom. Ethereum gave me a canvas. And while Bitcoin lit the match, Ethereum built the forge, a lab where ideology meets code. While Bitcoin stayed the spark, a perfect, unchanging base layer, Ethereum became the place to ask the hard questions. Can decentralized infrastructure replace institutions? Spoiler, not yet, but we're building. A technoanarchist dreams of a world computer, a shared machine where anyone could deploy trustless apps. Ethereum delivered, but with limits. Scalability bottlenecks choke throughput, driving fees so high they become gatekeepers in disguise. Access had its own flaw. Pay to play wasn't freedom. You needed ETH just to use ETH. Ethereum's core wasn't broken, but it was unfinished. A monolith straining under its own ambition. So the system broke itself apart. The end game? Specialized layers. Ethereum core became the settlement layer, anchoring security by layer 2s, or rollups as they are also known, took the strain of transactions. Modular upgrades turned scarcity into abundance, infinite scalability without sacrificing the decentralized bedrock. But access wasn't the only flaw. The account model was glass house. Every balance, transaction, and pattern visible to all. There is where zero-knowledge proofs stepped in. ZKPs let you prove a computation is valid without revealing its inputs. ZK AVMs are already here, turning Ethereum's transparency into selective opacity. Soon, you'll validate ownership without exposing your holdings. Execute trades without leaking strategies. And then there was the pay-to-win problem. Ethereum's latest upgrade fixed it. IAP 4337 lets any token pay gas fees. No ETH? No problem. Someone else can sponsor your actions, turning pay-to-play into pay with anything. Ethereum isn't a product. It's a movement. A living system rewriting its own code. Sharding, ZKPs, state rent, each upgrade a step forward, a future where openness, scalability, and privacy aren't trade-offs, but defaults. The decentralized world computer isn't finished. It's alive. And like a fire, it only grows when we all add fuel. DAOs aren't just governance tools. They are the Technoanarchists lab, where social contracts get compiled into smart contracts. The dream? Communities govern themselves, bypassing hierarchies. The reality? Most are still prototypes, crashing into edge cases like legal systems, incentive design, and human ambition. Governments don't know what to do with DAOs, so they shoehorn them into 20th century legal bucket. LLCs, corporations, trust. Suddenly, experiment in self-governance became paperwork compliance. The revolution gets a CFO. Unbalanced tokenomics, power concentrates. A few whales, the de facto board of directors, DAOs meant to democratize control often replicate the very system they are trying to replace. And when DAOs hold votes, turnout is often shockingly low. And why? Apathy. Token holders prioritize price over protocol. Complexity. Governance proposals are dense, technical, or poorly communicated. Incentive gaps. Voting doesn't always reward participation or punish apathy. Low turnout isn't just a bug. It's a systemic risk. A tiny fraction can dictate outcomes, turning the centralized decisions into plutocratic referendums. Here's the hack. Forking is the immune system of decentralized governments. If a DAO goes off the rails, communities can split, take the code, and try again. No court rulings, no board votes, just a Git clone and the manifesto. I voted on AIP1. 76% of us said no. This was for the Arbitrum network, their first proposal. The decision was already made. The vote, just a rubber stamp for centralized team's roadmap. No grassroots movements, no open debate, just a token holder pool to legitimize a decision that has already been made. Was it a failure? Depends on your lens. The DAO didn't die. It learned. Decentralization isn't a checkbox. It's a process. DAOs aren't the end game. They are the alpha software for self-sovereign communities. They'll break, they'll get wrecked by greed, inertia, or regulation. But as long as forking exists, the technoanarchist dream stays alive. Code is governance. Power to the people, always better. Now that crypto has reached a wider audience, many see only number go up. Not the ideas beneath blockchains. Big players with deep pockets could exploit this. Imagine a threat like, I see you have a nice blockchain here. It would be a shame if its value crashed tomorrow. Suddenly, decentralization isn't just about resisting governments. It's about resisting economic coercion from entities that treat protocols like poker chips. Bruce Schneider, hopefully I didn't butcher his name that much, once said, security always involves trade-offs. VPNs, Tor, end-to-end encryption, Tornado Cache, and other tools protect me, sure, but they also protect criminals. That doesn't mean we surrender privacy. It means we choose our battles. Using privacy tech doesn't imply guilt. It implies agency. We make trade-offs daily. Last weekend, I paid for a coffee at 7 in the morning with cash. Got 20 small bills, a stack of cash, effectively, back, instead of 4 larger bills, because the register didn't have big bag notes. Swiping a card would be easier, faster, cleaner, but it would create a digital breadcrumb. Every choice we make chips away at anonymity. Even building this deck was a trade-off. Yes, it was written with an AI assistant. Not because I'm lazy. I could have rambled for days without one. But for brevity and clarity, sure, a must. The model I use remembered me. It learned my voice, gave sharper answers. I could use the privacy-first AI that forgets everything when I close it. But it would have been slower, blander, less me. I'm only human. I fumble privacy. Sometimes I prioritize convenience. But I keep my world settings as low as possible. Minimal tracking, no biometrics, no centralized logins. And here's a confession. I'm not building the tools I wish existed. I dreamt of them for years. Privacy-first protocols, decentralized infrastructures, systems that protects users by default. But I've chosen a different path. Family, career obligations, and the inertia of good enough solutions. I spent my energy on client projects, on code that pays the bills, not on revolutionizing privacy. And now, time is a luxury I can't afford. But here's the thing. It's not late for you. I'm asking you, the builders, to take what I'm stumbled through and run further, to plant trees under whose shade you may never sit. Because the post-state future isn't about any one person. It's about all of us writing code, forking protocols, and making trade-offs that tip the balance toward freedom. Because Cypherpunks write code. Back in the day, when my crypto story began, I never imagined I stand here asking you to build the future. But here we are. Build like the future depends on you, because it does. Ask yourself, do your tools expand human agency or replicate our hierarchies? Do they guard privacy by default or demand trust in a centralized systems? Write it down. Share what you will build in the ETH Belgrade Discord. Let's crowdsource a roadmap for freedom. Act now. Install one of the privacy-protecting apps tonight. Scan this QR code for my recommendations. Tools I vetted, tested, and use daily. The list will grow. Start small. Take one step. Then build on it. And never give privacy away easily. Every time you trade it for convenience, ask, is this price worth it? The post-future isn't a revolution. It's 1,000 incremental choices. You're not just coding features, you're writing freedoms. Because in the end, the future belongs to those who code it. Thank you.
We have some questions now. Now is the time. Oh, yeah, there is one.
Thank you for the speech. It looks like blockchain's transaction transparency clashes with privacy. And things like Tornado Cash may be illegal, like some lawsuits and so on. And how exactly it can be solved? I mean, in legal field.
In legal field, it's a question, but it has always been a fight. When the Cypherpunks came along, and they were creating programs for encryption, it was illegal to use it. So they used different means. There were people who were going to jail because of it. Because in the USA, giving away to a foreign country encryption because encryption constitutes weapons grade because of that. So even then, it was illegal, but they fought it. So we should also fight for our privacy, because the governments will always try to get as many information as they can. And there is like an analogy. How many cameras make you feel safer? And where is the limit when it jumps into
Surveillance, yeah.
Sorry, my mind skips, but yeah, into something that the government can follow you everywhere. Because there's a limit, and we have to fight for those limits to be where we would like them to be.
But the question is that developers of all major blockchains do not even try to make them private. I mean, excluding Monero, for instance, or some, but still, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and so on, they are quite transparent. And maybe you know if they have some plans, at least, to make them more private.
I don't know. My hope is that ZK proofs will be able to work on that. So maybe not on the blockchain layer, but with ZK proofs you will be able just to prove something without revealing the information where it's coming from. So you might have your ERC tokens like in public, like who have it. I was on one of the speeches today that they mentioned that, where you could, for example, hide when you want to transact. So some information public, some private, but I don't believe that it will be ever totally private, like protected your privacy. There will be always some trade-offs.
Thank you.
Is there another question, maybe? We have time for one more.
Sorry, okay. So I wanted to ask you because over the last couple of years, Web3 in general has had a pretty negative time at the press. They have pretty negative media coverage because of certain bad actors, bad apples. How do you see that improving, and when do you see that improving, and do you see that improving at all?
I don't see it improving because the media always tries to push things that are controversial. Like, you won't hear about good things happening on the blockchain probably because it doesn't attract so many eyeballs. They are selling real estate for eyeballs. So they always have an incentive to put in the worst things there. And I'm not seeing that it will change. But the landscape is changing, especially in the US, where now they are more crypto-friendly. Now even a grandma can buy in her pension funds Bitcoin soon. So that will change, but that is also something I'm afraid of because not everyone is interested in privacy. We should try to create privacy-first tools, make them simple, and give that to people, but usually people will choose convenience. And yeah, there is no way really to protect them from themselves. And this is where banks came in, because I give them my money and they are responsible for it. With blockchain, I'm responsible for everything I'm doing there.
Thank you.
If that is it, no more questions? Well, thank you very, very much for doing this. There is one more. Okay.
You mentioned the ZK and zero knowledge in general, like as one way. I would like to know your take on fully homomorphic encryption.
I'm not yet there. I'm kind of understanding the theory around it, but I didn't yet go into ZK piece to learn. It's on my long-term plans to make some ZKP circuits and see how they work and explore them, but I'm not good at that.
Because with the ZK proof, you could, for example, have a ledger that stores the proofs but you need to expose the inputs. You still, at some point, if you want to query your own balance, so it wouldn't make, you cannot make a private ledger of financial transactions only relying on ZK. There needs to be some encryption at some point.
Yeah.
And that's why I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.